everyone. I'm here today with the absolutely stunning Moira Camino, who is a healer, a channeler, and a guide. So, welcome, Moira. It's so lovely to have you.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. It's lovely to be here with you today.
Oh, I'm so excited to speak to you because I'm new into the world of all the Akashic Records stuff and all like, a few of the things that you do. So, if you could just explain a bit about what you do.
Yeah. So first of all, I trained in crystal healing over 25 years ago, and my journey has been a lot of spiritual healing, etc., along the way. And then I think it was about 2020 when I trained in Akashic Records. So I first of all had to train in the Merkaba, how to activate your Merkaba, which I now teach, just to make your body be more 5D, so to channel a much higher frequency, and then you can go on to be trained to open up the Akashic Records for people. So when I do, for example, Akashic Records for people, say we are, the way that I explain it, or the easiest way for, say, the average person to understand is, say we're in 3D at the moment, even though we're going into 5D. When you're thinking you're in 4D, and your record keepers and guides are in 11D. So when I open up someone's records, I go and open up an Akashic record prayer with their name specifically. So I open up their records. I then go into 5D or more into 5D. I then connect with the record keepers and guides in 11D. And then we just have this conversation, basically. They talk through me. And it's just a beautiful way of connecting with someone's soul path. So the
Yeah.
way that I describe it to people, like when people have a reading, I'll say, have you had a psychic reading? They say, yes. Have you had an Akashic record reading? No. I'll say, well, the difference between, and I'm all into psychics and mediums. I go to mediums myself. I think they're absolutely amazing. So it's not a better, worse. It's just different.
Yeah.
Is that I would say I won't be saying to you, you're going to be driving a yellow Ferrari in 3 years' time or something like that. I
Yeah.
say all about timelines. So with the Akashic Records, you can ask what's going to happen here and what's going to happen with that and with this relationship, with this job. And I said, it depends what timeline you choose and what healing you do on yourself as to
Yeah.
timeline you have. Almost a little bit, although I think it's a little bit extreme, but like the sliding doors example film, right? So
Yeah.
something like, if I heal this, then I'm going to attract a partner that isn't going to take me down this rabbit hole of all these issues that I have, and if I
Yeah.
don't heal that, then I'll keep on attracting those same people. So that's kind of an example of how that works.
Fascinating.
Apart from sometimes, if people ask me a question like, oh, my boss is abusing me at work, like verbally abusing me or something, that can be quite a black and white answer. Like, yes,
Yeah.
they absolutely definitely don't want you in that job. They want you to look for this, and this. But more than anything, it's like, I love doing the Akashic record readings because it's like connecting you again with that deep love that your soul has for you, that you have for yourself as
Yeah.
your source being, God being, whatever you want to call it. And it's just kind of like, where am I at? And it's always really positive. So there'll be some bits where everyone comes from an Akashic record reading in general when they're not all tickety-boo and happy with
Yeah, of
everything in their
course.
life, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, am I okay? And they'll be like, yeah, this is your track. This is the best way forward. And they pretty much always give me a meditation for the person to do, a very specific meditation for them that they can then do, like ongoing every single day for the foreseeable future. So it rejigs their system to be in the right frequency and alignment as much as possible without doing healing on them at the time.
Amazing.
So
So
it's
something you said really stuck out for me there was it was the level of choice that you give people. It's
mm,
not like you're fortune telling and saying this is going to happen to you, this is going to happen to you. You're saying, right, if you do this, then that opens up this. But if you do
yes,
so it's giving people that autonomy over themselves,
yeah,
but with a bit more of guidance and knowledge behind it.
yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I would say it's very paramount to, if you're doing the healing, then you're going to get the best possible outcome, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fabulous. And so
yeah.
talking about healing then, so the
Mm,
big question that what this podcast is about is
mm.
what does healing mean to you?
Um, it means so much. Exactly as you say, it's such a massive question, isn't it? So I believe that I came in to be a healer. I didn't always know that as a child at all.
Yeah.
I didn't have any healing around me or anything like that. So I didn't have anything to kind of look at and go, oh yes, that's who I am. Um, but healing it's a frequency for sure. It's for me, healing is who I am. It's
Okay.
literally in my nus. My nus is healing. So I'm here to
Yeah.
be a healer, to be a teacher, to be a guide. Um, but healing can be, it helps people to go back into who they are, their soul, their purpose.
Okay.
So everyone comes in with crap, simple as that. We all
Yeah.
come in with crap. We've had many incarnations. Lots of us have had many, many incarnations. Lots of us are star seeds. And the whole point of being a human is that you have emotional issues because we are emotional beings, and not many planets have the emotionalness that we have as humans. So it's actually a great gift to have that. Very painful at times,
Yeah.
especially when you forget, oh, it's just I've chosen this. I'm actually alive in other planets at the moment, other realities, past, present, future. But you're
Yeah.
in this moment, just going ah. But that's what we're here for. So if we clear all of that stuff with healing, then we're going to be literally at our best and highest alignment, highest and best frequency, and all the doors then start opening. And as we go into 5D, that's where it's really, really important. The healing right now is amazing. What I found as well as I've had, say, clients who are just starting out in this healing world, they're going, yeah, I know about my chakras, but only just recently. I've only just started doing meditation, but say they're very open.
Hmm.
Um, I'll say to them, this is literally the perfect time. You can accelerate to 5D really, really quickly. Whereas I'm sure for you, your journey started a long time ago. Mine started a long time ago. And it was like molasses for years. Like, oh my goodness, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas now people can just go through doorways really, really easily and quickly. So it's never too late to start the healing journey, basically.
So that kind of, do you think that healing then is something that we do, something that happens to us, or is it something that we kind of remember?
Hmm. I'd say some people have a natural healing gift. I think we're all psychic in our ness. So say
Yeah.
strip away all the humanness and any issues and any ego and any non-belief kind of side of things that I can or can't be a healer. I think that people are already. Um, and some people, for example, have healing just coming out of their auric fields. So I don't see auric fields only when I've got my eyes shut can I see. So I see with my third eye with my eyes shut. So some people are literally just kind of born into that from whichever starseed planet they come from, right?
Yeah.
Um, so you can, I think, anyone can be a healer potentially. So I think it is something that happens to us as well. I think most healers that I know will have had an experience of feeling some kind of healing, not like I had hands put on me. I mean, I did actually have that one time actually when I split up with an ex, and I felt I knew it was my grandma, and I felt like tingling all the way down the side of my body. This is when I was about, I don't know, 19. And it
Yeah.
was just like just her telling me that she was there.
Oh,
But I believe that we do receive healing at night for sure from our guides and guardians and angels, and especially if we ask them. So the remembering bit is really interesting because I would say, yes, if we are meant to be healers, we will remember on some level. And I
yeah.
think when we come into 3D or how it has been up until now, we have the veil of amnesia, don't we? So we
Yeah.
incarnate, we don't remember anything about past lives, we don't remember that we're a healer. If we're a healer and want to be a healer, not everyone wants to be a healer, obviously, or needs to be. And then as we go into that life, there'll be certain situations that just start to wake us up and we just go, oh my God. So I remember, for example, when I was 12, my sister had a book on reincarnation. I was brought up in a Catholic all girls school, right? So it was
Yeah.
all about God.
Similar.
Yeah, yeah. And then I read this book and I didn't know that it wasn't a Catholic thing to believe in reincarnation, but I read the book and I went, yeah, that resonates. Yeah, I believe that. And it's
Yeah.
only things that resonated with me that I've ever kind of taken on board. And I remember when I was 15 thinking, I don't think God is a cruel person who just smites people and punishes them. I
True.
think he's a really good person. I still thought he was a white dude with a beard in heaven at that stage because obviously I was
Yeah.
brought up in that kind of whatever. I don't think that now. But yeah, so I just feel like I started remembering stuff like my psychic gifts started coming in, especially say more when
Mhm.
I was, say, about 25. I've always had a psychic nurse and been
Yeah.
very empathic with people, always been able to feel their feelings, been able to describe what they're feeling, been able to tell what they're feeling through their facial expressions. I didn't think that that was anything weird or different, though. I just thought
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah,
really normal.
yeah. Everyone else can do this. So yeah, that's just I had similar. And then when you
Yeah.
find out that not everyone can do it, it's like, what?
I know, right? I know. I did a test, I don't know how many years ago, and it was something online. It was tell what these people are thinking from their facial expression. I got 100%. It was just so blindingly obvious to me. But an
Yeah.
example, for example, of the remembering and all that kind of side of things of the healing is I remember once my mum, so I was about 12, and we were in the car and her mum had just passed and she said, you can't even possibly, and she wasn't saying nasty, she said, you can't even possibly imagine what it feels like for me. And literally just in a split second, and hadn't really done it before, I said, oh, it feels like a part of your heart has just been literally ripped out and it's just like so raw and so painful and you'll never get it back again. She was driving, she just looked at me and went, how did you know that? I went, I don't know. And it was just
Oh,
intuitively sensing, empathically sensing what she was feeling in that
yeah.
moment.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So I think you do remember, you absolutely do remember. And that's the beauty of no matter how much, even though we chose to come into 3D and we chose to forget everything, no matter how much the system or whatever tries to make you forget, you will always end up on the path that you're meant to. You will find the right person that will just help to pick you up and go, plop, there you go.
Yeah.
Because you've got
I
it in you, haven't you?
Yeah, and I think it's also remembering that if we were to remember it all, it would be quite overwhelming for our little
Yes,
human bodies
it would be.
to then
Mm.
feel and know everything all at once and be like, so
Yeah, it would be.
yeah,
It would be. There's a guy called, I can't remember what his second name is. He speaks Spanish. I'm not going to say he's from Spain because I don't think he's, no, I don't think he's from Spain at all. Mateos. Mateos?
okay.
Don't know if you've heard of him before.
No.
Look him up. And he does a lot of work with Egypt. And he had everything coming in, all of these past lives, so much pain, people he'd lost, like as
Yeah,
though it's a current life, like a current timeline. Amazing, amazing, amazing man. Yeah, look him up. I can I can put it somewhere or whatever. But yeah, really
yeah,
amazing. And that's someone who had to just deal with all of that. I wouldn't have wanted to deal with all of that. I have found out in my past lives, I'm very much into past lives and clearing the negative ones for myself and for other people.
yeah,
Um, if I'd have had all my past lives come up, I'd have been running for the hills,
yeah,
especially with certain people. It's like, oh no, 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 we got a lot of stuff to clear there. I can't be bothered with that. No, I choose
yeah.
someone a bit easier than you.
And it sounds like on your journey that you've
Mm,
had lots of like learning moments and things that resonated with you that you were like, I'm going to keep this and
yes.
then I'm going to pick this part of it and I'm going to choose this part. Because I
Mm,
was quite similar growing up in a very strict Catholic household. So
mm,
ritual was huge. Like the
yes.
Catholics, they love a ritual
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
incense and chanting. And so that sat with me quite well. So I kept that part. I love that.
Yes, yeah.
But I remember one of my school teachers, who was a family friend,
Mm.
told me that I was going to hell when I was 6
Are
because
you
I said I
kidding me?
believed in reincarnation.
Wow. Were they like
Yeah.
really old school kind of? Were they old at the time? Yeah.
No, but they
No.
they were
Old to you
very,
because you were 6.
yeah,
That's terrible.
awful, isn't it? So at that point, I learned that not everyone is good. That
Yes. So but
they
you didn't take it on as your belief that you would go to hell though, right?
no.
Well done. That's amazing for a 6-year-old. That just, we all know that you're an elder anyway, but that's a really good thing to be able to be like, no, thanks. I think you and I are very similar growing up. It's like, no, no, that doesn't resonate with me. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Pick
Yeah.
pick and choose what you like because there's so many and they all preach similar things. And it's the
Mm,
same with science as well. It all seems to be the same, just spoken in different languages.
yes.
So
Yeah.
being able to remember parts of things and having those experiences where you're like, oh yeah, like with Egyptians and things like that, resonates so well with me. And
Same
Egyptian
here.
magic and things. It's just remembering that and being like, oh, so yeah, I felt that in my right. Yeah, that happened before. Ah, there we
Yes,
go.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I completely agree with you. So, like with Egypt, I've had a few lives in Egypt, and I started going into healing really when I was about 25, and I did a crystal healing diploma, but it was like a full-on 2-year one, and she did all sorts of things like we did acupressure points and all sorts of things. It was beautiful, beautiful teaching. I still do crystal healing today, and it's a long time afterwards. And in that one, I remember I was at my sister's house and I was just lying on the treatment couch. I don't know why I was lying on the treatment couch. We used to do healing, a lot of healing together. And I just had this kind of download again. It felt like someone had just literally gone like that down my auric field, and I was suddenly put back into Egypt. I don't get this all the time, by the way, but I was put back in Egypt, and I was lying on some kind of stone thing, and I
Yeah.
had crystals on me, and they were all pointing upwards, and it was not a nice one, by the way. And what I got was that we had been in a war with another clan, another whatever it would be called in those days, and there was crystal warfare going on. And I could see like the images of it all, and they had taken me, and what they did was with crystals, you they killed you off basically because they're pointing. It means it takes out energy. So I was just lying on this stone thing, and my life force was leaving my body, and I couldn't get up to get away from it. It
Oh
was
no.
just mad. But it's funny how I went into crystal healing. So I still
Yeah.
love healing. Obviously, I only ever use healing for good. Um, but if someone, for example, were ever doing healing on me with crystals, as soon as they went to my solar plexus, I could feel my breathing going up and down really quickly, like finding myself almost panicking. And then
Yeah.
when I was taken to that past life, like just instantaneously, I then knew, oh, that's why I have this almost panic attack when crystals are being laid on my body. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. And that's similar to like traumas that we have in this life.
absolutely right.
How there's kids that get fostered and adopted at a young age, but they
Mm,
went through a lot as babies, and
hmm.
their body remembers all of it, even though they
Absolutely.
left that, traumatic space and were put into happier homes, they still kind of carried that with them. So it makes sense that whatever happened in a past life, we'd kind of carry with
Absolutely.
us now.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's mind-boggling, I think, as you were saying earlier about if we knew everything, we'd be like, oh, whoa.
Too much,
It would be a
too
bit overboggling. But I think as we go into 5D, so when I was in the Akashic Records the other day for a client, I could see that she would be able to, in the future, be talking to her future self at the same time as her present self. And she could even speak to her
much.
past self. And then some other medium or whatever I saw on YouTube was saying the same thing. I was thinking, oh my God, that's so amazing. So amazing. And as we go into 5D, we're going to be able to do that. We'll still be in our physical body, but we'll notice when we're coming out of our physical body.
Yeah.
It's going to be really different, is all I can say.
Oh,
Yeah.
because I've had that thought before about like wandering past gravestones and going to
Mm,
different places and being like, I wonder if that was me in a past life, or like, is this me learning about old me, or like, I wonder if we'd get on, or if,
that's a really cool thought. I like that.
yeah, like, and
I
I
bet
know.
you would, unless you were like really moody.
Well, from what you've told me about one of my past lives, I don't know if we would have got on because I was a bit of a bitch.
I think we all have been. We all have been in past lives. It would be really boring and dull if we had been lovely all our past lives, right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't learn much, would we?
No. And I like the idea because I think about it as like a big soup, right? That is the big soup, isn't it? That all
Hmm.
these lives are happening at once and it's all kind
Yeah.
of muddled together and it's not linear.
No, no,
It's
it's like a
that's
circle, isn't it? Yeah. And
yeah.
that's why when you do past life clearing, which is one of the things that I do with people who are definitely spiritually aware, otherwise other people just think that's just too way out for me, is that you're clearing past, present, future, so that you
Yeah.
are it's having an immediate effect on you in this life now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm quite passionate about, is like just let's get rid of this stuff that's just been dragging you like this big boulder that you've been dragging behind you all these lives, and just
Mhm.
set you free so that you can be all that you are, in this
Yeah.
lifetime. Yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous. And the
Mm,
idea that I like that the imagery of carrying that and then that freedom and that kind of like here we are, we're central, we're clear now, we're ready
yeah, yeah,
to do what
yeah.
we're gonna do.
I
Um,
know.
what first drew you then towards energy healing and like spirituality and
I'd say it was interesting because I was told by a medium many years ago that when I was little, so I'm half Spanish. I grew up in Spain till I was 6, and they said to me, you used to sit on your bed and pray to your angels, but in a really lovely way, not in the kind of scared of God way, right? I hadn't been
yeah.
indoctrinated in that way yet, or whatever you want to call it. And I used to pray to my angels, and they said your angels used to come in. So I think I kind of did it then, but then I forgot.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I came to England, so as I said, 12 was when I read that book. And then I'd say it was after I did a degree, then I moved to Brighton, and I just started kind of collecting crystals.
Mhm.
And then that was kind of it. As in, one of my Spanish uncles was about to pass away. He had cancer. And I remember someone telling me, I think it was a friend of mine, saying, put crystals on a piece of paper, put his name underneath, and I put the crystals and I chose them really carefully, all my special crystals, just to help him and ease him and help his way forward with a little pain, that kind of thing. And he passed quite quickly afterwards. My feeling was that they helped him. I didn't really know how or why, but I just felt that they'd
Yeah.
really helped him. And then I just kept collecting more crystals. And this friend of mine at the time said to me, "Oh, you might as well do a crystal course, basically, in
Mhm.
this. You might as well just train in this." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, maybe I should do actually." Um, and yeah, and then this woman that I'd already met when I was about how old was I? About 22 or 23. I'd met her at this healing fair, ended up being my teacher 2 years later. So I was so meant
Wow.
to be taught by her. And what was interesting is that my boyfriend at the time, he'd held, no, I'd held a crystal. I said, "Oh, this is a lovely crystal." And then she said, "Oh, hold on, I've got to check it." Because normally, if you hold a crystal, it would immediately start working on you to heal you, by the way. And it will then take your negative energy. So then you have to cleanse it. So you
Yeah.
can't have people touching your crystals. Like if I've got
Yeah.
if I've got a healing client, you can look, but please don't touch the crystals
Yeah.
apart from unless the ones I'm going to put on you. Okay. So I'd picked up the crystal, held it, and she said, "Let me just check if I need to cleanse it before your boyfriend at the time then holds it." And she said, "Oh, it doesn't need clearing. That's weird." And then she gave it to him to hold. That was like weird. It was just weird things like that. And meeting her on that day, I just remember thinking, just something went like that.
Yeah.
And then the 2 years later, I studied in crystal healing. And then I've always had like also normal, mundane jobs to go with it. But my healing work it's almost like I was always on the path, as it were. I don't feel
Mhm.
like I've ever been off the path.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, fascinating. And crystals, it's something that I've always been attracted to crystals because obviously shiny things are just like,
Hmm.
yay.
Mm.
But some crystals just really do speak to you. And
Hmm.
they have personalities and they have their own funny things that they can do. And I was doing some work with a witch, and she was showing me how to work with certain crystals
Lovely.
because I hadn't done anything with them. And she was like, "Oh, these quartz ones, they work best if you give them just a little tap, and
Yeah.
then you tell them what you want them." And I was like, "You can actually tell them what you want them to do." And she's like,
Hmm.
"Give it a task." And I was like, "What?" It's just like mind blowing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it's great
Mm,
to be
mm,
able to just like, and even if you are just stood there talking to a rock, psychologically, you're working on yourself and you're
hmm.
kind of helping yourself. So I think why not have fun with it, right?
Absolutely. I'd say
Yeah.
have a crystal healing session, but not just with anyone. Some people, I don't know why, but they put crystals, like say, on the third eye and on the crown for ages. You should never be putting crystals on that kind of area, even for the throat for long, because they're very high frequency areas. So it can cause headaches, can cause all sorts of stuff. It can just cause misalignment. But once
Yeah.
you've had a crystal treatment, like yeah, it is amazing. It's like having had a holiday on the inside of the body and on the outside of the body. It's like, oh, all that stress, it just gets drained away because when I work, well, especially when I work doing crystal healing, I don't just work just on the physical, I work on the auric field as well. So bringing the highest frequency to the most dense frequency, which is the physical body. So it realigns it a lot quicker, basically. And when I do distance healing, I do the same thing. I work on someone as though they're in the room. But with crystals, they are extraordinarily powerful, basically.
Yeah.
And where they aim to basically put you into balance. So if they're cleansed and charged, obviously they need to be cleansed and charged first. They will immediately start working on you to balance your energy field out. So the rule of thumb really is if you go into a crystal shop and you're attracted to a crystal, that's unless you can't afford it, right? Because I was going through it.
Expensive.
Oh, every time. That's your crystal, basically. So you could go up and just kind of like have a little word with it. When I work with crystals, I can get their names. So they are beings, basically. They're not just a rock. Even a rock is a being. Everything is a
Yeah.
being, right?
Yeah.
And in Atlantean times, they had crystals powering the whole of Atlantis, powering the whole of Atlantis. And that is where we are going towards. If you
Brilliant.
think about it like that, crystals aren't just this small little thing. Even a little chip from a mother crystal from the earth is going to be have that intelligence.
Yeah.
So with myself, people talk about programming crystals. A lot of people program crystals, and that's totally cool for them. For me, I don't know why I have a real issue with programming crystals because I
Ah,
believe that they are their own beings.
yeah.
And in a way, it's like saying to your child, oh, you're really good at art. You're also good at maths and also good at English, but I want you just to focus on art for me.
Okay,
I
yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah.
so for me, but having said that, and especially if you're doing, like if someone were doing spells or whatever, you could have the intention, but then maybe for me, if I were to do that or to consider doing that, there's just something in me that resists it a lot. And it's not my
Yeah,
ego.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
something that doesn't feel right for me to do it with my crystals, is then to release the crystal from having to have that job once that job is done. Do you see what I
Yeah,
mean? So it's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
trapped in it, in this potentially what could be ego-driven reason for
Hmm.
setting it up like that way. And I'm not saying that anybody else does it like that, but I
Mm.
don't know, because they are their own little consciousness and beings. It would be kind of, can you help me with this for the moment? And then when it's done, you're set free, or I'll cleanse
Yeah,
you, and then you can just be you, right? That kind of thing, I guess, is what I'd
that's
see it as.
that's one thing I found fascinating when I was learning about witchcraft and spell casting and things like that, is that having a ending to it is important, and
Yes.
having even if it's not at this specific date, I'm gonna, I would like this to stop. It's at this kind of a situation,
Yeah.
and it's kind of giving that thing autonomy then to be like, okay,
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
got more control over it and you're helping me along the way. But
Absolutely.
I love hearing about it all and people's opinions. It's just
Yeah. And with
fascinating. Just
them,
makes me
so with
work.
my crystals, for example, any crystals that I have are all known to me and I'm known to them as we are healing together. We're going to heal this client together. So they're not here for just fun. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
So that is the intention, but I haven't sat there with each one like saying, you're going to heal this client.
yeah,
It's like I've just spoken to them all in general saying, you're my healing crystals and thank you so much, for being my healing crystals and healing this client. And they love doing it. And I
yeah.
love working with them. I teach how to sense crystals. So if you were, it's a really, really shortcut, but you'd have to be grounded and protected beforehand. The crystal would have to be cleansed and recharged. And you'd have to have a grounding crystal by your feet. But I teach people how to sense the energy of the crystal going up into your body. So the left hand is the receiving hand. So that's how I was taught. So I'm more like Eastern taught rather than Western taught, especially this
Brilliant.
teacher that taught me. She wasn't Eastern herself, but Eastern philosophy, if you like. And that's a really quick, easy way to just get into the zone. So this is for healers that are potentially watching this, right? That already potentially work with crystals. And what I found when I work with crystals and when I meditate with crystals is the mind just tends to just shush in a really
Hmm.
nice way. You still have
Yeah,
your thoughts, but it's not like, oh my God, and then what am I doing later? And then I've got this, that coming up. I'm really worried about this. It just calms the mind down, and especially for fast minds. And I have a
hmm.
slightly fast mind. It really, really calms the whole nervous system down. It brings you back into the parasympathetic. It's beautiful, really nice.
Yeah.
It's done properly. So the first one or two times, ideally do it with someone who knows what they're doing. Do you see what I mean? Because
Hmm.
crystals are actually really powerful. But if in doubt, start with grounding crystals, not your moldavite, which is really, really high frequency and starving frequency. Even things like amethyst are great, but they take you very deep into meditation.
Okay.
So you feel like falling asleep, basically. So quite often when I'm doing the crystal sensing, we'll take people through, I'll take people through like the crystal meditation with amethyst just to show them how deep you can go. But obviously I'm guiding it, so then I bring them back in again, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
they don't have
yeah,
to go off for too far. Yeah.
yeah.
Rose
That's what.
quartz is always, always, always a winner because it's not going to take you too deep anywhere, but it's a very, very beautiful crystal for self-love, self-worth, but also has some meat to it where it's like, no, I'm not gonna put up with that. No, but in a nice way of like,
Yeah,
no, I've got self-respect and self-love here. So
yeah.
it's a
Brilliant.
winner in always, yeah.
Self-love with boundaries. That's what we want, right?
That's exactly right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Ah,
yes.
brilliant. I feel like I need to bathe with that, just like cover myself in it.
It's
That's
just
the
literally,
one.
we're always working on something, aren't we? And
Hmm.
if you know what you're working on, that's literally more than halfway there, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. And you were talking about connecting with clients' energies, and
Hmm.
how do you tune into a client's energy and figure out, okay, this is what's needed, and yeah, what's
So if I'm working with a client, a lot of people come to me for Akashic Records first,
hmm.
readings, and then during that reading, they'll normally come to me, say, with a few issues, saying, I've got this issue with my life, and I can't move forward, and I'm really stuck, or I've got no self-esteem or self-confidence, or I keep on attracting this kind of person or this kind of job. So what I will do is I'll go into their Akashic Records. So I'm already like very, very tuned into them. As I'm opening up their records, the guides will already start telling me something about the person. Um, Once the records are open, I'll then just start talking, or the guides will talk through me and just saying stuff about the person, just describing the person, etc. So that then the person knows I don't know anything about them in general at all, right? So it's just going to
Yeah.
come out. Um, and then the difference between, say, an Akashic record reading, where it's more of a soul reading, this is where you're at, and these are the things that you can do to help you forward, and you're already doing really well, you're on your path, or if you're slightly off your path, but this is what you can do to put yourself on your path. With channeled healing, I then go into a clairvoyant mode, basically, where I go into an Atlantean healing lake. I activate the lake. It's quite full on. Lots of crystals. So I'm activating lots of crystals and they're working with me. I work quite shamanically where spirit animals will come up. So
Yeah.
like my spirit animals will come in, the person's spirit animals will come in, and then I will be shown the past life. So I do theta healing as well. So I'm shown what the core belief is. So I deserve to be happy, no, for example, rather than yes. And that's a core belief that we don't even know we have, right? And that's not everyone has that belief. I'm just literally just an example that could be for someone. And then I'm shown the past life where that belief comes from, and then we
Okay.
go in and clear it. So I do it with theta, I do it with light language. Like one of my,
Yes.
I work with the elders, basically. That's what I've been told. I work with the elders. I work with the angelic kingdom, with the Fey kingdom, with the Elven, with ascended masters, angels, Lord Anubis, Lord Maitreya, all pretty much any one of them can come in at any time, or lots of them. It's with me, I don't just work with one person. I think that's kind
Yeah.
of a bit of a difference, is that I channel quite a few at the same time. I also do, because for some people they can't necessarily afford to do the one-to-ones, I do group healing as well, and I
Okay.
do that once a month, and we all like go in. I'm holding it rather than I'm in it, but I'm not doing it for myself, as it were, obviously, because I'm guiding it.
Yeah.
We go in and clear quite deep stuff as a group, which is really nice. But any of the clearing that I do has an impact, past, present, and future, but also ancestrally as well. So that's really, really nice. Mm.
I was talking to someone about facilitating group healing the other day. So I haven't done much of it because I'm very good at focusing on the one person and giving them my full attention and being able to sense what they're. And then when another person walks into the room, I'm like, oh, okay, who's who, who's what, why are you here?
Yeah.
What's going on? What's that? Who's that? I get overwhelmed, and I'm sure it's something that I'll be able to learn in time. But that
Mm.
ability to be able to work with groups is just incredible.
Mm.
To be able to hold space for so many people.
One bit of advice, I think you're quite similar to me in the fact that we are really, really, really sensitive and empathic, is one thing that I learned was during lockdown, which is where I did most of the extra training, like where I already did kind of channeled healing, but it then kind of honed into something really, really amazing. And then the Akashic Records was added on top of that with the theatre, so I've made it like, my own thing. Is I tend to do the group healing work I do online. I do not do in a
Oh,
group in person. There is, for that
okay.
reason, I very rarely do Akashic record readings face to face, because I need to be in my energy field so I can feel yours, but it's not literally on my energy field like this. So for an
Ah,
empath, it actually works really well, and it works just as well, if not better, for me. Whereas if I'm doing crystal sensing or crystal healing, I would rather be in the group of people.
yeah.
And then I'm doing a meditation, but because everyone is in the meditation, we're all doing it together, we're all cleansing together, we're all then recharging together. That's a very different feel. But if I was to hold a group healing with people in the room, you would have their ego would also be coming in the room, or their questions would be coming in, and it would be quite distracting for people like you and me at this moment in time. I think in the future, obviously, we'll be able to do that, but
Yeah.
you're dealing with a lot of issues there. Whereas if it's online, people in general know not to just be talking. Like when you're in person, it's like, oh, can I just ask you about this? Can I ask it? It's like, I'm really trying to get in the zone right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a way that you could do it really nicely.
Yeah.
Because I only started doing the group online healing last year. So I've probably been doing it about 6 months now. And it was spirit. It was so loud. It was like, you got to do group healing. Got to do group healing. I was like, okay. So literally a month later, I started doing it because it was so loud. And they're not normally that loud with me, but this was
Yeah.
like, this is part of your ness of what you have to do, what you've come here to do. So what I do is, the people that I have in my group healing are all spiritual people. They're
Hmm.
not people that say are newbies to this, because it would
Okay.
the frequency that they would have wouldn't be necessarily the right frequency for that specific group. So what you do is just you add as you go along people who are of the right frequency and want to join the group, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fabulous. You could just
Mm.
see a light bulb go off in my head then, like online. Oh my God. Why
Yes.
did that never occur to me?
It's so good because then you're kind of like the captain of the ship and everyone's sat, they've got this, not that they need seatbelts on a ship, but maybe let's just say they do. They've got the seatbelts on, everyone feels safe, they feel held. You always do protection and everything for the group anyway. And
Yeah.
you always do it so that anyone listening to it again would be have the protection and the healing, etc. It's great, honestly. It's so much easier. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, so you've been doing this for a long time and you've worked with a lot of people. Has there been one moment that you could pick out that's really affirmed like your deep belief and power in energy healing?
I would say yes, absolutely. There was one lady, she couldn't go out in the sun because it would hurt her crown so much, at the top of her head, would hurt
Yeah.
her so much she couldn't go out in the sun, and neither could her son. So we went in and did a channeled healing, and we went back to an Egyptian life where she was, and this was a highly revered job from what I've seen. I literally don't know too much about history. I'm terrible really in that way. But they show me things and then people can look it up and they'll find out it's true, right? So anyway, so she was embalming people, right? So when
Okay.
you take the organs, etc. And it was a really sacred job, and she was doing a beautiful job, and she got trapped in that not tomb, but that pyramid, whatever you'd call it, and it got hotter. She died. So she had this overwhelming heat that then killed her. I don't know if it was a mistake or not. I can't remember. This was so long ago now, a few years ago now. I think they might have trapped her on purpose actually to kill her. Yes. And anyway, so we went into that past life, we cleared that past life. And I also did. So whilst I'm looking at the person, I've always got my eyes shut when I'm doing channeled healing. I was then doing stuff around the crown area. And then she reported, and I said to her, it's also having an effect ancestrally for you. So it affected her and her son and generations past. And then she reported the next day, she said, I went out in the sun, and so did my son, and we don't have the pain anymore. And this was a debilitating thing for them, debilitating. Yeah.
Amazing.
And I'm not saying that always happens, and it's not always something as acute as that. It's more like
Yeah.
emotional, like, oh my God, I feel so much better now. I feel so much happier. I'm now fulfilling my purpose with myself. Like I feel like I am on the right path in my life for me. But this was a very, very like just specific example of like, wow, spontaneous, really healing and clearing that past life. And this is why I'm so passionate about clearing those past lives, because they're going to keep having an effect on this life until they're cleared, right?
Yeah.
So,
If you don't
but
learn the lesson, it will keep punching you in the face.
this is it. And always I go into the Akashic Records and mark all lessons as learned and complete. That's really important as well. Really important.
Okay.
So you don't have to
Okay.
keep on experiencing them.
Yeah. So you've touched a bit on kind of Akashic Records, but for anyone that doesn't really know what they are, could you just briefly explain, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
so your Akashic records are where so we're in 3D going into 5D, and the Akashic records are in 11D, and they hold all the informations from all lifetimes, past and present and potentially future as well, the potential of it, if you see what I mean. I
yeah,
see that as a little bit unwritten, like imagine like there's ink kind of like hovering over a page. That's how I see it for the future.
yeah,
Um, and in those records is your all of your soul contracts, all
okay,
of your past lives, every thought you've ever had. So I don't go in and go, oh yes, and you were this and this. Like, well, I can do actually. Some people do ask me that, but they'll ask me what lives have I had. So I'll go in and tell them what lives they've had. And I will, because I do the channeled healing, I will quite often pick up on the lives that need the clearing. But quite
hmm
often I'll also go into happy lives as well. It depends what the person wants. Some people don't want to hear about what they need clearing. Some people just want the happy reading, in which case that's absolutely fine. But basically in that it's everything of who you are. Like maybe as a human form you describe it as your DNA structure, but it's more than that.
Mm.
I don't know if that
Yeah,
explains it very
yeah,
well, but
no,
it's
that
like your
does.
highest level teachings that you can give to this physical being down here and say to them, this is what you've come from, this is where you're going, and these are your potentials. And I do believe that in Akashic record readings as well, that they, especially if I give the person a meditation, that they're channeling healing to them to bring in that higher frequency to them. So
Mm.
even if they don't go on to do channeled healing for whatever reason, because not everyone wants to, they're still going to receive that really beautiful. I mean, 11D is 11D. It's not 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D, 10D, right?
Yeah.
So it's just divine love, really. Very, very
Oh,
much divine love, but of divine love with knowledge is what I would say.
love
That's
that
where
with
they're
the
coming
knowledge.
from. Yeah,
Yeah, fabulous.
yeah.
And from your experience, what do you think has is normally like the biggest block that people get from
Self-love.
healing? Okay.
Self-love.
Yes.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, most humans, and I'm talking like when we are incarnated into human being body, low self-worth, low self-love, low self-esteem. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not everyone, I mean, some people you'll meet and they think you think, oh, they're so confident, they're so this, they're so that. But we all have this kind of wound almost that we're born into. And I think that comes with coming into or having come into 3D.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that to be fully, fully, fully all loving, all encompassing, all like, no, I'm an amazing being, I'm a divine being, and 100% really, really honor that, you'd pretty much be enlightened or enlightened.
Yeah.
And that's also why we choose the human body, because we've got all these doubts and all these things that kind of come in whilst we're in the 3D. When we go into 5D, it's going to be very, very different, because your thoughts create the action very quickly. So we'll have to learn what we think we create. So this is why it's
Yeah.
really good to be clearing this stuff now, without going into like all fear of like, oh my God, I'm going to create pandemonium, whatever it's called, pandemonium, in the world. That's not necessarily what's going to happen at all. I think it will go in steps.
Yeah.
But right now we have a beautiful window in particular to just clear out that dross, that karma, and just kind of just go into self-love. It's like, stop beating yourselves up. It's like, oh, and that's what the guides would say. So would you just stop it? Get that stick. Gonna get that stick that you self-hit yourself with, self-flagellate, and chuck it away and put it on the fire. And instead, I'm going to give you the most beautiful flowers that smell heavenly, and that is who you are instead, you know?
Yeah, that's one of the messages that I've received in most readings from most
Mm.
people
Mm.
is like just give yourself a break.
I know, right?
Like
I know.
easy on yourself.
Just ridiculous. It's like the hardest taskmaster is yourself, right? And
Yeah,
people who are in that can just love themselves and just say, yeah, I can be a moody cow, or I can be this, or I can be that, but I'm a nice person. I don't go out of my way to hurt anyone. If I've
Mm.
done something wrong, I say sorry. I mean, that's a good start, right? That's a really good
Yeah,
start. That's
yeah.
brilliant, you know?
Whenever I work with clients, the if I'm doing like coaching work with them or
Mm.
even with the healing side of things, the first session I always do with them is on self-love and the
Lovely.
way that they talk to themselves and the kind of those self-thoughts. They're so important because if that's what you're telling, our brains are wonderful, but they're very lazy
Yeah.
and they go for the
Mm.
path that's most well, like trod on. And
Mm.
because we see in patterns and that's the way we process light energy and hearing energy and all that kind of stuff, we go to the easiest pattern. So
Yeah.
if you start with the self-doubt and the self-hate and all of that, that's where your brain's going to go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my husband the other day, he took some photos of me because I was dressed up and I looked really lovely.
Yeah, as you do
And
today.
and he snapped a couple of shots. And the first shot you could see that I was feeling really uncomfortable.
Mm.
And I was kind of fiddling and pulling faces a bit. And then he goes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, you do. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And then he goes, oh, Laura, I really love you and you look really cute today. And then the next picture, I was beaming. There was none of that kind of fiddliness and like awkward. It was just me.
That's so beautiful.
So now every time that I have my photo taken, I imagine his face behind the camera saying that he loves me. And
And
you
what a
can
beautiful
always
husband
tell.
you have, and that's so
Isn't that,
lovely. Testament
isn't
to
it
how much you
odd?
love each other. That's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it just goes to show that that love can change everything.
yeah,
And if we can find that in us to give it to ourselves, then we don't need it from other people. It's
exactly
there on
right.
tap.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
really
Mirror
important.
work is really good for that as well. Like the looking at yourself. It was a lady who's a psychotherapist that gave this to me. And it's just a little exercise. I just think it's such a beautiful one. I just want to share it with everyone because it's just so beautiful. So imagine the younger you, say 3 to 5 years old, and he or she is sat in the corner of the room. And this doesn't happen, obviously, but just imagine he or she is sat in the corner of the room, and everyone's just kind of walking past, all the family and everyone. And the child is just sat there going, "Hey, what about me? Does anyone see me? Does anyone notice me?" And then as you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're looking at that younger you through your eyes, right? But imagining that younger you in the room on that sofa or the seat, thinking, where is everyone? And you say to her or him, I see you, I hear you, I love you. And then you say it 3 times and you do it for 2 weeks. You can do it for up to a minute, but I've only ever done it 3 times, morning or evening, whenever you want to, but just make sure you do it for the 2 weeks. And
Mhm.
at that 2 week point, it is beautiful.
Ah,
That is self-love, self-healing. It's like you are being there for your inner child. And that's something I'm quite passionate about, as well as working with inner child, of
yeah.
that younger you, and just telling them you're just perfect as you are. You don't need to do anything or be anything to be loved. You were born already 100% lovable. You still are. It's just
Mm.
all the crap that kind of goes on that makes you think that you're not. And it's literally bull beep.
Bullshit. We can
Yeah,
say
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
it.
I am a swearer, so I have been controlling myself.
I've got a potty mouth. It's really bad.
I think it's very good, actually. It's good to express it all and get it out of your system, right?
I love that technique. That's such an easy way in because
Hmm.
with inner child work, it can be really difficult and it can be
Yeah,
really heavy.
yeah.
But to have that simple practice that you can do for 2 weeks is
Hmm.
that's life-changing for someone
It
and really
really is life
accessible.
changing. Yeah, and you can then have you can have a break for like a month or a week, however long you want. But once you've done it the once, commit to the 2 weeks, and then you just feel so different. And I just wish everyone could just do that for themselves, and it would just the world would be very different already. Really would. It's
Yeah.
like the biggest gift I think I've been given recently that I can then share because it's so straightforward to do, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And with inner child work as well, it's an ongoing journey. It's not like you do it for a little bit and then everything's fine.
Yeah.
But it has to, with all kind of healing anyway, it has to, you
Hmm.
have to keep going because
Yeah.
the way that you approach that child the first time is going to be very different the way that you approach the child, in 5 years' time
Yes, yes,
and
yes, absolutely.
different work you need to do.
You create a really beautiful relationship with your inner child where to begin with, they can be a little bit like, no, I'm fine. And by the end, they're like, they just, how are you feeling today? It's like, oh my God, are you okay? Tell me all about it, right? But you
Yeah.
wouldn't go straight to that because you'd be like, I'm never going to speak to her or him again, right? It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
let me run for the hills right now. My inner child now is like, and sometimes if she goes really quiet, I know, oh, she's really angry, really upset. But I'll just cuddle her, that kind of thing. It's
Yeah,
a whole thing in itself, isn't it? Doing inner child work. But actually, if inner child work were taught at schools as well as so many other things, it
yeah,
would help every child just to be able to, if you could heal yourself and be there for yourself instead of always looking outwardly for stuff, but taught how to do it,
yeah.
everyone would be in such a different space. We wouldn't be run by egos.
Oh, no, oh, well,
Yeah,
yeah. Um, and I think that's a really beautiful thing about healing is giving someone the tools to be able to then go away and do it themselves.
yeah.
Because if I had someone that I was working with and I'd been working with them for 10 years, I'd be thinking, what the hell have I done wrong?
I know.
Like, this clearly isn't working.
It's like, I'm just going to give you some money back here because for 10 years, it's like, wow.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Any way that you can, like when I do the crystal sensing, that's set up very much so the person can then go off and start sensing crystals for themselves and just do that for themselves. With channeled past life healing, I'm not expecting anyone to be able to do that for themselves unless they're a channeled past life healer like me.
yeah,
But what I find is, say, for example, like clients will come to me, say, for 3 or 6 sessions and then just come back when they need a session. It's like, I've got something really come up for me. Can we clear it? Yes. So that's kind of how it works. Instead of you're constantly going to be in the therapy, even though I don't see this as therapy at all, because it's not therapy.
yeah,
I go in with my guides and we just clear it. We don't need to know all the history and the drama and the trauma. We just
yeah.
go and clear it.
Oh,
That's
I
what I
love that.
like doing because I've had, say, counseling as well. And although it was really lovely and I'm not dissing counseling, I felt like I would probably need 10 years of counseling maybe to clear a past life. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. So you go
so
in and get the root cause,
yes.
snip it off there and
Yeah,
get it
don't
gone.
take I don't take any prisoners when it comes to healing work. I'm just in for just let's go in and clear which ones really need clearing and have the most immediate effect on the person to help them to feel like, oh my God, now I feel so
Yeah,
much better. I feel like me again. That's
yeah.
my focus always.
So
Mm,
you're working really deeply with people then.
mm,
How do you protect yourself? Because
yeah.
as healers, there is
Mm.
that tendency to want to take it from someone when it's not yours to take.
I would say because I'm not a therapist and I've seen now the therapy side of things, and they would have to be very kind of like I drop it when I go. Because
Yeah,
we clear it in that session, I don't take it on. Sometimes I'll think,
brilliant.
wow, wow, that was really interesting. Wow, that was a really hard past life. But because we've cleared it, I'm done. And I do a lot of heavy protection on myself and the client as well before we even
Amazing.
do the session and
Yeah,
during and after. So yeah, I don't get much fallout. Occasionally, I'd get a headache if it's been a really big fat clearing, but that's more sometimes also with group healing work or whatever. But I think that is also to do with because the frequency is so high and you're holding even more people. Do you see what I
yeah,
mean? It's like it's different because I thought to myself, right, it takes a lot of energy when I do the channeled healing. It's like I've got all these different compartments in my brain, all like kind of thing, all being lit up at once. So normally, say, just as an example, you'd be using one part of your brain, you're using six parts. So that's how
yeah,
I sit. I love it because that's my fast mind loves that aspect because I'm just in my element.
yeah,
So then I thought, okay, if I do it for a group, then I'm doing it for more people than one and helping more people than one, and it's cheaper for them,
yeah.
and then I'm still using up the same energy. But you're also dealing with quite a few people's energies at the same time. So it's just a case of I generally go for a walk afterwards or always have an Epsom salt bath, that kind of thing. And it's just kind of just clearing yourself afterwards. Yeah, but generally I'm absolutely fine. Literally absolutely
Brilliant,
fine. Yeah. I
brilliant.
feel it for the person when I'm doing the channeled healing, but I stop myself from going really into it because I'm such an empath. I could feel like the heartache and the heartbreak and the everything. And
Yeah.
I feel a bit of it. I go, that's enough. And
Yeah,
then I
I'll
just
push that
clear
back
it.
to you now. Yeah,
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 those and they don't feel it at all. They're just kind of sat there going, "Yeah, cool." And I like it that way. That's how it should be. They shouldn't have to feel the pain. It's absolutely fine.
yeah,
And I don't have to feel the pain. It's just I will feel it for a second. They're just showing me where it is, what it is,
yeah.
and then I just dissipate it
Yeah,
and heal it.
fabulous. And
Yeah.
those are the kind of things that you well, I know for me, I learned very quickly that if I didn't put those things in place, it was not good.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it was painful for days after, and there were really dark moments and
Yes.
things like that that I hadn't protected myself properly, and I will never do that
No.
again. I
No.
learned the hard way.
Yeah, I remember going to a healer and he was a very good healer. I went to him for years. I haven't seen him for years now. Um, But he said to me after the birth of my second daughter, he said, "Oh, you don't have to do healing now." And I think I was just so exhausted for several personal reasons and stuff. But I just didn't really have it in me. He said, "Oh, you could just be stop being a healer now or something for a bit." But he obviously knew that I'd go back into healing again, but he wasn't telling me that at the time. And then when
Yeah,
I did start going back into healing, he said, "Yeah, I don't believe in self-protection." So I thought if he doesn't believe it, and he's like really very evolved person, very evolved healer. I thought, right, I'm not going to do it anymore then, because he said if you believe you need protection, then you attract that you'll need protection for what you were saying. So I did
okay.
that, and I got every cold, every cough, every time I treated someone just for crystal healing. I wasn't even doing channeled healing at the time. I thought,
Yeah,
stuff that. So I went
yeah,
back into full on protection, and then I'm fine. So for me personally, no, it doesn't work for me. I have to do full on protection, and also for the client as well. I mean, I always protect the client, to be fair, but even then. But yeah, no, it doesn't. No,
I love that.
I'm
I
not
wish I
doing.
could be one of those that was like, nah, not today, no
I
protection
know,
today.
right?
Like, that's
I know.
great.
Well, whatever he was tuning into, because he tunes into all sorts of different realms and things. He didn't talk about it, but he obviously has a good reason to not feel he has to protect himself because he was probably already is so heavily protected, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah,
Oh, wow. Oh, good for him.
yeah. I know, right? We'll
Um,
get there one day.
yeah. If you could offer one piece of advice then for someone that is starting out on their journey, what would that advice be?
I think kindness to self is definitely the
Yeah.
biggest one. that if you're just starting out on your journey, this is the perfect time to be starting out on your journey because you can accelerate so quickly. Find the right people to work with that resonate with you. So physical healing, I find is really, really good. So find someone near you that does crystal healing or Reiki healing or whatever kind of healing you're drawn to, and really go with your gut instinct, because quite often you'll have had a thought about, say, someone, and thought, I did feel there was just something, I couldn't quite put my finger on it because they seemed really nice, but didn't really feel comfortable with them, or something about that. Trust your intuition. Be kind to yourself. Know that you're on a journey. You've been here very likely many times before. You've even likely been a master before, and that's male or female in past lives. So stop thinking that you're not special and that you're not a beautiful being, because you really are. And just being here on this earth at this time, and just shining your light for Mother Earth to then integrate this as she's going into 5D is just the most beautiful gift, even if you did nothing in your life, just being you.
Oh, I love that, because that's all people really want, isn't it? It's just to feel important and to be seen.
Yes, absolutely right. Yeah, just
Yeah.
to feel, oh, I am enough, I mean,
Yeah.
we've not, I don't know anyone that I've ever worked with has never been told necessarily, you're enough, I see you, I hear you, I love you, you're amazing just for being you, I love you just for being you. Now, as we're going on now, people that are younger most probably are doing that a bit more, or a lot more, but the
Yeah.
people I work with haven't necessarily had that. And it's not the norm. It's something
Yeah.
we really are having to work towards. If you look at the generations past, it's like survival, get on the
Yeah.
bed, whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, parents are a lot more awake,
Mhm.
to these are your needs. This is how I'm going to talk to you in a different way. Even I've had to learn, over my time of how to be as good a parent as I can be, not perfect, but to really just love and honor those little beings that you brought into this
Yeah.
world, because they are just amazing. But
That's
communicating that to them as well.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I say to my, because I work a lot with stressed out mums, and
Mm.
we most of the time have this conversation that you are going to mess your child up. It's going to happen, but you
Yeah.
want to do it the least amount possible.
I had that conversation with my girls the other day. I said every parent on some level or some way is going to do something that messes their child up. It's a given.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
happen, but just make sure it's the least amount possible. Let's not
Yes,
give them full-blown traumas, just a little.
absolutely right. It could just be
Yeah.
like one sentence you once said, and they just hold that forever. And you just go, I said sorry like 10 times about that. But owning it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But so
Yeah.
self-love, that is
Mm.
one of the most important things.
Yeah.
Just
And the way to see self-love, because some people are like, oh my God, that's really selfish and that's really egotistical if you've got self-love. Actually, no. If you see the fact that you are from source, you are a spark of source, of God, whatever you want to call it, you are divine love. Source is divine love, only divine love. So you are divine love. So therefore you can give yourself divine love. It's really as simple as that.
Simplicity. I love that a lot of the things that you've said today is like simplicity. It's the simple
Mm.
things that can get you started on that journey and you can get in deeper then.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. Fabulous. Okay. So I could talk to you forever. Can I have you back on, please? Because you're
Yeah,
just
of course you can.
fascinating.
Thank
Um,
you.
so people are going to want to work with you after this conversation. I can see it. You're just incredible. How do people find you? How do they get in contact with you?
So my website, which is wonderfulyouhealing, all one word.com, that's how to find me. So you can book in for half an hour free consultation. So I'm not in the person's records, but it's like just talking about what are the issues that you're looking at, how best to support you, basically, and to move forwards. And on that website, it's got the group healings. I also do group crystal meditations once a month as well. So they're also even cheaper. They're like £11. And that one would just go in, clear the whole body, and then recharge the whole body. I love doing that one. That one I love doing in person as well, but it's not always that straightforward. With the group healings, they're on middle of the month. So I'm doing one this Sunday coming. I'm doing a group healing 10:30 to 11:30. I always do it on a Sunday morning. It's just a nice way to start the Sunday and start the week, and it's just everyone always just has always reported back, or the ones that have reported back have said, oh, it just feels so good. And it's just shedding the old and in with the new, and it's last time we went to Andromeda,
Oh,
um,
goodness.
we did the fire horse, so we were connecting with our fire horses, that kind of thing. So it's whatever I'm guided. I do very much freestyle channeling so that my guides can really do what they want to do instead of my ego kind of getting in the way.
Yeah,
So
of
that's how
course.
I like to do it. Yeah, so that website, and then on that website as well, you can WhatsApp me as well. So I think that half an hour free consultation is a really good one if someone is wondering, should I do the channeled healing or should I do the group healing? Should I do the meditation? Should I do distance healing? Because distance healing I also do on people. If something's quite acute, say they're quite stressed or quite depressed, I'll quite often say, let me do 3 distance healings on you, crystal healings, and then we'll go into the channeled healing. So it
Okay.
can be different for different people. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the best way to find me. Yeah.
Fabulous. Everyone go and speak to her. She's amazing. I've done one of your sessions and I think you're incredible. The information
Oh,
that you
thank
gave
you.
me has changed me. It really has. So
Oh, dear.
I recommend you so highly. You're incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for being here and thank you for your time and we'll speak to you soon.
Yes, take care. Thank
Brilliant.
you.